Okay, everybody. Oh, will you turn that down?
Julia's production show.
Hi, everybody. It's Julia Sansevere with some wonderful people in the studio tonight. This is the Martin County Difference with Julia Sansevere, your dancing realtor. Scooch in, Charles. And
okay.
This is Darrell Brand and Charles Grande, and they are with the Rivers Coalition, and that's the subject of our show tonight. A lot to talk about. It's a hot topic. But right hot off the presses, I want to say hello to my new sellers that I got listed. This is a real estate show too. So up in Port St. Lucie, I've got a beautiful new, your hand just went over the camera.
No audio.
No audio. Oh, hi everybody.
The A2 screwed up.
Oh, let's start that over. Hi everybody, I'm Julia Sansevere with Coldwell Banker. This is the Martin County Difference with Julia Sansevere, your dancing realtor. Started out because of the Dancing with the Martin Stars, which started out because I got Realtor of the Year for 2015. Thanks to all my fellow realtors who did that, made that honor for me. But in the studio tonight, we're going to be talking about the Rivers Coalition, and I've got Darrell Brand right here next to me, and next to him is Charles Grande, and they're with the Rivers Coalition. But right before we go with that, I said hot off the presses, I got a new listing up in Port St. Lucie. I want to say hi to Pat and Pat. Got two Pats up there. And it's a beautiful 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home with a pool, barely lived in. It's seasonally owned by these wonderful people, and they just, I mean, it's like 3 months of the year, that's it. So it's pristine, it's got a pool, new air conditioning, new water heater. Okay, that's my time. So, but thank you for listing with me, and if you want a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful home, it's on the east side of US 1. And just 10 minutes to Jensen Beach. You'll be at the beach in no time at all. So that's for all you snowbirds out there and anybody with friends. So I just wanted to welcome my guests again. This is a wonderful discussion we're going to have, and there's so much to talk about. An hour would not be enough. So I want to encourage these wonderful gentlemen to jump in and just start. But what I know about the Everglades and the river and all of that is the very first book I ever read was Marjorie Stoneman Douglas's The River of Grass. And I recommend everybody to read that because it is an amazing story of the history of Florida. There are many others, but that's just a very poetic, it really tells the story.
She's originally from Minneapolis, where I'm from. So
there we go, some similarities.
Yes.
Okay.
And don't forget to tell them that Darrell can replace your husband.
That's right.
If I call in sick.
There we go. Darrell can come and be my A2. Now, if anybody knows what that is, good luck. That's an audio assistant.
Some people know what that is.
Some people know what that is.
We're all TV people.
My old friends from NBC know what that is.
And I was a group 6.
Into the mic. Oh, well, we're not on air yet.
no,
That's right, we're not on air on the radio
you
yet.
got me figured out.
Sam,
Well, make sure you tell them I was a group 8.
yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
I don't want to pull rank.
And then beyond. So anyway, thanks for joining us on
I'm gonna go
Facebook.
eat.
Okay, bye. Have a
So
nice
sweet.
dinner.
Good
Okay,
seeing
we're
you,
going to
man.
sit here and starve.
I'm
Okay.
finished.
That's nice.
I did my job.
You did your job. You sure did, honey. Thank you.
Good seeing you.
So thanks for joining us. And again, we're talking about the rivers, and it's a serious topic, so we're having fun. But it's been going on a long time, right, Darrell? Right, Charles?
Charles can talk about a little bit more about the history than me. I'm a fairly newcomer, well, within the last 5-6 years, but we've got some. I've got some historical items, some show and tell here.
Good.
But Charles can talk a little bit about the history.
Well, if we want to go back more than 100 years, what we'll find is, in those days, conquering nature was the right thing to do.
Mm.
And looking at what everybody looked at as a swamp and saying, hey, that could be productive farmland, people could live there, that could help the economy of the state. If we could dredge and drain and fill, it would be a great thing. And it worked. And if you look at the system that's in place today, the system that's sending us these damaging discharges,
Right.
it's really doing what it was designed to do. And it's unfortunate because
Okay.
they were really, really good. at implementing the design.
All right, I'm gonna just take a break here, Charles, for a minute. We are going to go on the air.
Opinions on this program are not
now.
necessarily those
So
of
everybody on Facebook, stay
WSTU
tuned,
Digital
WSTU.
1450. The opinions expressed are those of the program hosts and guests. WSTU does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU.
Someone fill out.
It's time now for the Martin County Difference with your host, dancing realtor Julia Sansevere.
Hi, everybody. Hi on WSTU and 1450. Good evening. It's Julia Sansevere. I'm with Coldwell Banker. I'm a realtor, and you might remember me from Dancing with the Martin Stars as your dancing realtor. And in the studio tonight with me, we're talking about the Rivers Coalition. We're talking about the rivers, and I have wonderful people from the Rivers Coalition. Darrell Brand is right here to my right, and to his right is Charles Grande, and they're with the Rivers Coalition in different capacities, and we're going to get into that. But we were just talking a little bit before we got on with WSTUTV.com on Facebook Live. And hi, everybody out there in Facebook. I've got you up on my iPad so I can see you joining in, and thank you. The issue is a serious one. We were having a little fun in here before because, you know, getting set up on Facebook Live, it's a lot of fun. Darrell and I have a shared background in broadcasting, and my husband was here helping us getting set up, and we were just laughing at how technology has changed, right, Frank?
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
terminology,
Yes.
even that has changed. And but the reason for the show is to point out the good in Martin County and to bring to light the people who are doing good here. And typically they're 501c3 organizations or people who are working with that, volunteering their time to make it a better place for all of us. And tonight's topic is really one of a long history in Martin County. And many people along the way have tried and have not succeeded yet in correcting the problems that were made by man. And I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir out there, so I'm not going to do that. But I want these wonderful gentlemen here to bring us up to speed on what's going on with our rivers. I think we've all heard in the news lately they're going to be stopping the discharges coming east and west, but that's just a fact of nature, of weather, right? Maybe, and that's a maybe. But how it all got started, the first book I ever read was The River of Grass by Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, and that's what we want to talk about is the different things coming on. Real quickly, one promo for me. I am in real estate. I just want you to know how to get in touch with me. It's my phone number, 772-919-1385. You can go on Facebook Live right now and ask a question. Go to Julia Clegg Sansevere. Also, my website is juliasansevere.com. That's pretty easy. And I'm on Facebook at a business page, and it's Julia Sansevere, Florida Waterfront Specialist, and I chose that name because I live on the water, and I love the water, and I do specialize in that, and that's what brought me around to talking about the river and the water tonight, because I was affected negatively in my business. We all were affected negatively in our businesses this past summer. People who had marinas, fishing tackle shops, you know, all kinds of people. And in real estate, we lost sales. You know, people were affected, and I say, you know, it's time to take the baby out of the closet. I mean, you can't just hide it, and you can't hide it. So we don't want to shoot ourselves in the foot in terms of getting it out there and saying we've got a problem. But if we don't say we have a problem and try to fix it, the problem never goes away. So thank you for coming tonight, and thanks everybody out there for listening. So Charles, you were making an interesting point before we went on to WSTU TV about the historical aspect.
Yeah, I was talking a little bit about the fact that the system that, quite frankly, is killing us now is really doing what it was designed to do originally.
Mm-hmm.
They were able to drain the swamp. They were able to create arable farmland out there. They've created really, really profitable businesses, jobs for folks in the center state, if you will. But it stems back to the days when conquering nature was what American folks did.
Mm-hmm.
More recently, we've learned that nature is our friend. Mother Nature really is better at designing things than most of us are.
Yeah.
You mentioned Marjorie Stoneman Douglas's book, where she described the river of grass, which worked amazingly well.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what happened in Central Florida, no matter what happened here, water flowed slowly from the upper chain of lakes in Orange County down through what was Lake Okeechobee at the time.
Right.
South of there, out through the Everglades,
Mhm.
and out into Florida Bay, where fresh water is an absolute necessity. Along the way, that fresh water recharged the aquifers
Right.
that folks in South Florida depend on. And we've changed the system, and it's not as good as it used to be. And we've now been fighting the Rivers Coalition
Yes.
for more than 20 years
Yes.
with the goal of getting it back as close to the way it was as is possible. There's a lot in the way, there are businesses in the way, there are towns in the way, so it'll never be exactly what it was. But if we can reestablish a flow south and have it go slowly and clean the water along the way,
Mhm.
we'll be able to stop the discharges. And as we've looked at every other possibility, there's nothing else that's being considered that will actually stop the discharges. You mentioned earlier that after 200 some odd days,
Right.
they're now talking about stopping the discharges for this year.
Right, right.
Actually, they're considering stopping the discharges to the east
Mhm.
and reducing them to the west.
How kind of them.
But it's where the engineers in the old days thought the water should go.
Right.
Now we know better, and it's time to put it back as close to the way it was as we can.
Absolutely, and I want to say that the way to find out as much as you can about this, and it really is in-depth, it's complicated, it goes back over time, and there's a very good explanation in many different parts of the website for the Rivers Coalition. So it's riverscoalition.org. They're also on Facebook at Rivers Coalition. I encourage you to go there and read about it. And tonight is the first part of a two-part series. We're having the adults tonight and of the Rivers Coalition, and next week we're going to have the River Kidz, which is a fabulous organization, and there's hope in them Dar Hills because the youth of our community has started something, along with some help from adults, to continue this work, and it's marvelous to see kids, and kids get attention, which is great. So they know how to do that, and that's a good thing. But I just want to go back to riverscoalition.org, and they're on Facebook, and you can get them by telephone as well, 225-6849. But easy enough to go on the website, and I did, and I was impressed with all of the information that's there, the maps, the things we're going to talk about tonight, the flow. And the most amazing thing is something that Jackie Thurlow-Lippisch told me in a conversation, that in the 1920s, when this first was proposed to make this a better place by cutting a canal through to the Gulf Coast, that the St. Lucie River and Stewart, Martin County, clamored for the opportunity. That we wanted that. It was like getting the Olympics in our own hometown, and that as soon as they did it, within a year after that, they realized the mistake, and it's been a mistake going downhill ever since. So isn't that interesting?
Well, keep in mind, before they did it, people were talking about, wouldn't it be great to have the ability to take a boat from the East Coast to the West Coast
Sure, yeah.
and not have to go down around the Keys?
Yeah, right.
And that was the promise.
Uh-huh.
You know, that in addition to flood control and drainage,
Right.
this would be a great thing for the marine industry.
Right. And Darrell, you're involved.
Yeah, well, it's interesting that you mentioned waterfront. I moved up here from the Florida Keys and found this, what I thought was this perfect piece of waterfront property and very inexpensive at the time.
Uh-huh.
And one of the first years that we were here full-time, there was this green algae bloom. I had actually moved up here living on a boat, and there was this green algae bloom.
What was that?
That would have been 2004, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Correct? Yeah.
Okay.
2005.
Right, but well, the hurricanes were at 4
Well,
and
yeah,
5,
it would
right?
have been the summer
Right.
of 2005, correct. And that was when the lawsuit basically
Right,
started.
against the
And-
United States government. Right?
And that is something I know Charles was heavily involved in, and it was based on riparian rights and real estate value, or actually value of waterfront property being taken away from homeowners. And I think there was, what, 24 or 25 original.
Folks volunteered to
Correct.
sign on as
Right.
members of a.
And I was first here in 2000, and so I remember that and being astounded. I'm like, wow, they're gonna sue the government. And it was a bold step, and, you know, I think it was necessary to get the attention. And now, we were talking out in the hallway before we got on the air how social media, you know, this is on Facebook Live, and I wanna say hi to Mary Gonzalez Murphy. She said Minnesota is a land of 1,000 lakes.
That's right.
There-
That's where I was born and raised, and that's where I think I mentioned earlier, that's
Yeah.
where Marjorie Stoneman Douglas was born,
Good
Minneapolis,
people.
Minnesota.
Good people there. I think Mary heard that. And so you have clean water though, right? Clean lakes?
Well,
Yeah?
yeah, we had similar issues back in the 80s with local runoff. Of course, it's all fertilizer,
Mm-hmm.
high phosphates, nitrogen. It changes. We had our algae blooms there.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
But they were able to attack the problem early. So that was really my first involvement with trying to clean up water.
Ah, interesting. Well, also out there, Joe Neeson says, "Hi guys, go get 'em," and she says, "The swamp." I think that's a book too,
That
right?
is another, Grunwald, I believe.
Grunwald, right? Michael
Yeah,
Grunwald,
yeah,
right? All about
that's
the politics.
Correct.
And I think you and I spoke earlier this week that this has become a political issue, and it's a political football, a little bit. And now we have some good backing from people in government who, we've got that attention now.
I think a lot of that is due, though, to the people connected on social media who have brought the pressure.
Right.
I was one of the very early members of the Rivers Coalition, and on our great days, when we really had problems back in the 90s, I mean, we could gather 200 people,
Whee!
and really, 200 people are not a groundswell.
Right.
But in 2012, 13, when we had the latest set of problems before this year,
Right.
something magic happened. A couple of young fellows started using Facebook to ask people to turn out, come to the locks in
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes, yes.
And,
That was Evan
you know,
Miller, I think.
Right.
I had him on the show earlier this year.
Right.
Yep.
And
Sweet. Yeah.
you know, us graybeards looked at this and said, wow, maybe they'll get 400 people instead of 200. And with less than 10 days
Yeah.
to work up a crowd,
Yeah.
they turned out close to 7,000 people
Yes.
at the locks.
Yes, at the
here in
locks.
Stewart.
And for people who don't know, we have a lock system going from the East Coast here on the Atlantic, because I see some of my friends in Texas are on with us. Kyle Wells and Cole Taylor, thanks, and Teresa Hildreth, and Amy Epstein Foreman from in New York. And this is an issue that, you know, I lived in New York City, we had Love Canal. We cleaned that up. We had the Hudson River. We cleaned that up. There's no reason we can't clean this up. So anyway, I was saying we have a lock system, and Charles was referring to that. And you go through the lock, and you get through to Lake Okeechobee, and then you go to the other side as well. And this young man, Evan Miller, started a movement.
Right, and
Seriously.
It came to mind because you mentioned Joe Neeson, who
Yes,
was
Joe.
one of the people
Hi,
who
Joe.
came out
Yes.
and almost dedicated herself
Uh-huh.
to participating in the things that can solve the problem here. And what's happened is that number of people have made a difference on the political radar. Folks like Joe Negron
Yes.
are looking at the problem really and saying, you know, we've got to work on logical solutions.
Right.
Now he's talking about buying 60,000 acres south of the lake,
Right.
which is the first step in how to fix this.
Mhm.
60,000 acres south of the lake would be enough land to move water slowly from the lake down through the Everglades
Right.
and out the south end of the peninsula where it used to go.
Right.
And if we can get that done,
Mhm.
maybe using Amendment 1 monies,
Right.
that will be the route to stopping the discharges.
That would be excellent. And for those of you who don't know, in Florida, we had a vote called Amendment 1, and chime in here.
Well, it was voted on by 75%.
Yes.
I think it was 4.2, 4 point.
It was
Never had
an
such an
overwhelming-
overwhelming
Right.
response to
Correct.
wanting to do something, and the Floridians came out in force and voted for this, and it was money specifically to be dedicated to buying this land south of Lake Okeechobee so that we could, as Charles said, return that area of the lake, parts of it, not every, because there are homes and towns there, but create a flowway down through to the Everglades. So, and it would go slowly, because you just can't send the water rushing, because that's what we're getting right now, east and west. And it's killing it's changing the alkaline, the salinity, thank you, the salinity of the water, the saltiness of it. And so the little mammals and fishies and birds, they can't survive.
Well, killing
oyster
off
bed.
the oyster beds, which
Right.
clean up the water. And
Right.
one thing that I wanted to, I know this is radio, but we do
But-
have some video
Yes,
here.
we do.
And I brought a old briefcase that was given to me.
You brought props.
I brought some props. And
It's a real show here.
Yes, I bought some props.
Okay.
But I have to warn you, when we open up this briefcase, it's very, very old and it has a little bit of a smell to it.
Uh-oh.
So, we
Well,
have
we're
time-
just
we have-
past Halloween. How about we
I
go
was
to a
just-
break?
yeah,
We're
just
just past
conveying-
Halloween. We'll keep everybody in suspense.
Yeah.
We might have some ghouls
I like
and
this.
goblins.
I like this.
And come back and see what Darrell has in store for us in this briefcase. Kind of reminds me of Harry Potter or something, you know. Like okay, thanks. Stay tuned. Come back to the Martin County Difference with Darrell Brand and Charles Grande and the Rivers Coalition. And now we're still on Facebook. So hi everybody.
Oh, so we have to behave still.
So you have to behave a little
Okay.
bit, but
Well,
yeah,
you know,
that's okay.
coming from a broadcast background, things happen in between breaks.
They do.
And, you know, people sometimes will sit with shorts and they can see underneath.
Yeah.
Can they actually see underneath there?
No.
Yeah.
Well, that's dark
Well,
under there.
yeah. But hi to Debbie. Oh,
Maybe
Pat.
get the
Pat
briefcase
Dibble
in there.
McKenzie and Mary Lee Woodward Nichols on Facebook and John Hogarth. Thank you. Great job as usual, Julia. He's telling me. Thank you. Okay. Oh boy, no explosives in there, right?
No.
Plus, I
promise.
want you to show these posters. Don't let them
Yes.
get too far.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll
good.
put it right
All
back here.
And I printed things out too. And just again, real quick, while we're on a break, and I'll come back on the radio and tell you
Back
this
in
too.
25 seconds.
Oh, good, 25 seconds. Well, I have time to tell you, I got a new listing in Port St. Lucie, and it's not anywhere near any toxic water. So, it's a beautiful home. It's 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. It's gorgeous. You walk in and you see the pool. And it's 2615 Ruffin Terrace up in between US 1 and the Green River Parkway. Gorgeous home up there, just 10 minutes from Jensen Beach, close to the beach, close to shopping. It is really great. Upgraded granite kitchen, very nice. Okay, here we come.
Now back to the Martin County Difference here on WSTU Digital 1450. Back to your host.
Okay, hey everybody, thanks for joining us back on the radio on 1450 AM, and if you're on the internet, you're WSTUTV.com. I'm Julia Sansevere, the Dancing Realtor, and I get a kick out of that. I get to say that, right?
Yes.
Okay, forever and ever and ever.
It
right?
works for me.
Sorry if you're bored out there, but anyway, that was from Dancing with the Martin Stars.
Yes.
And I raised over $38,000 for young mommies and their babies to have a healthy start.
And I understand there's a YouTube video that proves it.
There might be
Yes.
out there on YouTube a
Yes.
little Latin hustle going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so check that out. Julia Sansevere, your dancing realtor, Latin hustle. And I was just telling everybody on Facebook that I just got a new listing. So this is the real estate part of the show real quick, and then back to my guest. But I've got a beautiful new listing in Port St. Lucie, and it's up near at the top where Walton and Green River Parkway meet. It's gorgeous, only 10 minutes to the beach from there, and really close to shopping. And it's on Ruffin Terrace, and it's a beautiful neighborhood of gorgeous homes. And you walk in and you are in Florida paradise. You walk in, it's a big open living room, all tile, and you look right out to the pool, and it's screened in, solar heated. They have new air conditioning. Oh, and the best thing is, it's only been owned in its lifetime. It was built in the late 90s, 97, by 2 owners who have both been seasonal owners. So they're not even here.
So it's part-time used.
It's part-time used.
Yeah.
It's gently used, as we call it.
Gently
Gently lived
used.
in. So give me a call at 772-919-1385 if you're interested in that, or go on my website, juliasansevere.com. And I'm on Facebook also at Julia Sansevere, Florida Waterfront Specialist, and we're talking about the waterfront tonight with the Rivers Coalition. This is Charles Grande over here, and to my immediate right is Darrell Brand, and I go back in time with Darrell a couple of years from knowing we were in broadcasting at different times, different places, but we found that out. And working in real estate, I had to talk to Darrell about something a while back when he was the treasurer of his community association, and I must say he was very nice. And so it's good to see you again. And I want to say hi to, hey, Irene Nethery Gomes is on, and Rhonda Martinez, and Katie Foot-Bourgeois. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And so we're going to now go to the guests right now. Here we go.
With props.
With props. That's right.
For
We
a
left
radio
you
show,
hanging.
This
This
you
is
know,
amazing.
Being
Left
another
you on the cliff.
Minnesotan, I can, very famous radio show happens in Minnesota.
And which one's that?
Mr. Keeler, Garrison Keeler.
Oh, Garrison
Oh,
Keeler.
Yes,
Right.
and he was well known for a lot of props.
That's right.
Yes.
Well, see,
Yes.
you know, and Charles Osgood says, "See you on the radio." So I have gently lifted that.
Okay.
You know,
Well,
I give him credit, but-
this is a surprise, and it was given to me. I'm kind of the whole temporary holder of it.
Ah.
And-
Uh-oh. What's flying
well,
out? Anything of Halloween?
You can't see it, but in nice. This is kind of a rusted out handle
Oh,
here,
my
but on the
gosh.
bottom here is monogram called the Rivers League.
Ah.
Before it was the Rivers Coalition, it was called the Rivers League. And some of the goodies in here
Are
are ads, but
Oh,
I'll
the
show
ad.
you.
Okay.
This is
I
an
can
ad.
see.
I have full copies of that. This is an ad from 1961 from the Stuart News talking about the battle to clean up the rivers. 1961.
Wow.
There's actually, you smell a little bit of
I
the
do
smell?
smell.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have smell-o-vision out
And
there in
all-
Radio Land, but I can smell it in here.
But all kinds of newspaper articles. There's one thing in particular here. This is where it really starts to get. There's
Oh my
actually
gosh.
some maps in here. This is original hand drawn. I don't know if we
Man.
can. I don't think it's very big, but it's actually
Wow.
hand drawn map
Charles.
of the whole canal system.
How's that on the microphone?
Sounds great.
Wow,
Sounds great.
we're gonna have to turn that around, guys.
Turn it around.
We didn't plan that out.
We didn't plan this, but boy, isn't
But
that
it-
something?
There was some, no animals, but that is we have to
Wow.
scan that one.
Wow.
And I know I'm lost behind here talking.
We
but-
hear your voice.
Okay,
All
but
right.
this is a very special, we have to treat that very carefully.
Very.
We'll roll that up later. But anyway,
Thanks,
my point
Charles.
is,
Yeah.
there's all kinds of goodies in here that will prove that this is not a new issue. We
Right.
have documents in here of what people donated back in the 30s and 40s
Wow.
to the cause. And I do want to, we did print up, slide over here.
And
put it
hi,
down.
Joyce Canigliaro. Hi, Joyce. Oh,
Oh,
she used to live
I wanted
here.
to go to this here.
The old smell in here is just
Yeah,
great.
I know, it just kind of, yeah, but we do have copies, we printed this up, we printed
Ah.
up for a poster of this ad from 1961, and it talks all about Martin County, the commissioners and some of their comments, and if you do want a copy of that, you can shoot us an email and we can probably get that mailed to you.
And your email address is info@riverscoalition.org. And the website is riverscoalition.org. And so please go on their website and go on their Facebook page and send them like their page.
I think we should post one of those here at the studio.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
we have this, I have a couple copies for
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
And I know we have one of our other posters from this summer. Charles has a larger version of it.
Oh, yeah, and I printed that out. That's the ad you did in the Stuart News in the
Correct.
summer.
Yes.
About the
put this out
discharges.
over the summertime,
Right.
and
So-
there's a lot of, we had to jam pack a
You
lot
sure
of
did.
information into this, and we were asked if it looked quite similar to the sugar industry ads that were on previous to that. And it wasn't our intention to make it look like it, but I
Mhm.
guess it came out looking like it, because we had the graphics, and we had the arrows and so forth. And Charles can probably discuss some of the elements, because the both of us had a lot of input into the copy, but we have lots of those posters available too, if you wanna. They're suitable for framing, put them up in your office. And
Well, your briefcase is a treasure. It really is, as Irene Nethery-Gum says. This is the treasure coast, and that is a treasure. Because this shows the effort by many, many, many citizens across the years, the decades, and why we haven't been able to arrest this problem. Somebody should be arrested, I think, but I don't want to go there yet. But we do have an intricate, complicated, multi-layered problem, right?
Yep.
Charles, tell us about this.
One of the things that this points out is the fact that, as we said earlier, we changed the area south of the lake to create an agricultural area. And into that agricultural area has come what we lovingly refer to as big sugar.
Right. We love sugar, don't we?
Sugar
Try
is
to
a-
take those children's Halloween candy away from them and see what happens.
Sugar is a very unusual industry
Yeah.
here because we think of farmers lovingly as
Yeah.
family operations.
Right.
And actually, in sugar in Florida, there's really only 3 mega corporations. U.S. Sugar, Florida Crystals,
Okay.
the Fanuels.
Right, find your
And
family.
everybody else belongs to a co-op.
Okay.
So 3 operations control sugar. It's the most incredibly profitable business you can imagine because everything is propped up by the federal government.
Okay.
It's a no-lose situation. They can grow as much sugar as they want, and everything over the amount that can be sold
Is stored.
is actually bought by the federal government,
Yeah.
stored,
Ah,
and they sell it to the ethanol industry at 10 cents on the dollar that they paid for it.
wow.
So your tax dollars, 90 cents of every dollar that's buying excess sugar is out of your federal taxes.
This is news to me that I did not know. I would like you to repeat that, Charles, for those who are hearing it for the first time. My ears are burning right now. So
Well, what that really does is it means that there are these 3 huge corporate interests that are not publicly traded companies. Keep in mind, U.S. Sugar
Mhm,
is owned by the Mott Foundation back in your home area.
mhm.
Florida Crystals is owned by the Fanuel family.
Okay.
And the co-op is a conglomeration of all of the other farmers that are in sugar.
Okay.
And those 3 organizations, which have no public accountability, no reporting requirements.
Mm.
It's not like US Steel, you can go publicly,
Mhm.
get their no.
Mm.
And they make so much money that a very small percentage of their profits is sufficient in total political contributions to really swing the votes in the Florida legislature.
Ah,
Why has it been so many years before somebody seriously considered buying land? Why did the Amendment $1 get switched away from buying the land?
mhm,
It goes back to decisions made in the Florida legislature
mhm.
by majorities that are supported politically by the sugar industry.
Right.
And we're just beginning to meet them head to head. I bring that up because of the advertisement.
Yeah, it's a good point.
This advertisement was a reaction to a series of full-page ads in the Stuart News,
Uh-huh.
the St. Lucie News,
Uh-huh.
all paid for by U.S. Sugar, all trying to stop this groundswell
Mm.
that's trying to fix the problem. And their ads were full of what I would lovingly say is misinformation.
Yeah.
And what we did is we put together, we all made contributions.
Yeah.
We were able to put together an ad that tells the real story or the truth about
The facts.
exactly what we need to do to fix the problem.
And I think in a nutshell, the land south of the lake, it stopped being a natural flow, and
Right.
we need to restore that flow.
And I think partially as a result of this campaign.
Yes,
We now have Senator Joe Negron.
yes,
Who came forward with the concept of buying 60,000 acres south of the lake. And if we can keep that initiative going, if he moving in as president of the Florida Senate is able to get the Senate to vote to actually make that purchase, and in addition to the Amendment 1 funds,
Mhm.
we now have the Florida Forever funds.
right.
So this is not something that we would have to go out and tax folks for. The
Mhm.
money's there.
Right.
The solution is there. The only thing that needs to happen is the political blockades
Right.
need to get out of the way. And the only way that's gonna happen is if enough people make it uncomfortable
Mm.
for these few corporate giants
Mhm.
who are in the way. Nobody really wants to put them out of business.
No,
Nobody wants to hurt the folks that are employed out there.
right.
And that's what created our advertising, was they were blanketing the newspapers with ideas that we were trying to flood their houses.
Right.
Or submerge their towns, or
Right.
eliminate all their jobs. Nothing could be further from the truth.
No, we want to work together.
Exactly.
It's
We're-
our
we're-
whole state. We
And-
all live here.
And sugar is an industry that employs people.
Yes,
They can make a dynamite profit and still work with
a
us to
small
solve the
adjustment,
problem.
yes, and a small adjustment to them that would be like a flea landing.
Actually, if they gave up 60,000 acres, the only thing that would, and we're not asking them to donate it,
No,
they would sell it at the market price.
Right.
And the only thing that they would be losing is the ability to overproduce sugar.
right.
Yeah, and one thing to keep in mind, they already signed an agreement to sell.
Yes, we have an option to do this,
Correct.
right?
U.S. Sugar signed an agreement to sell out the entire business to the state of Florida,
Uh-huh,
which is close to 180,000 acres. They've reneged on it. They're fighting to have the state not exercise the option.
mhm.
And we really don't need all of that land. We really don't need to put them out of business.
No.
We'd like to coexist with them.
Right,
We'd like to be good neighbors, and we'd like to be partners with them in solving one of the state's biggest problems.
absolutely. And why do you think they have reneged? What is your basic thought there, if I may not put you on the spot?
Well,
But-
From what I've seen back then, they looked at their future and decided this was a good time to think about getting out of the business.
Mhm,
Sugar was taking a hit, the general economy was taking a hit.
mhm.
They didn't see themselves doing something else with this huge land holding.
Mhm.
Now, since then, they've begun to realize that all of this acreage, even if it came out of sugar,
Mhm.
one day may go into rooftops.
Oh, my industry, housing.
Right.
But I'm not a builder.
Well,
But-
the thing is that that's a strange place to think in terms of hundreds of thousands of acres of homes, because
The flooding
it's,
potential.
it's wet, it's damp, it's
Yeah,
hot.
yeah.
There's no ocean.
No.
Everything that Florida means to us
Yeah,
is not really there. But the demand for housing in Florida is projected to be so high that reasonable priced housing is gonna wind up in that area if they have their way in the long run. And
We better not let them have their way. That's all I gotta say.
No,
Because,
I
and,
mean-
and I say follow the money.
Well,
And
yeah.
Irene Nethery Gomes has just said greed.
Ah,
And thanks, Irene. And she says, do not vote for any politician that takes donations from Big Sugar, plain and simple.
I really need to take a moment just to say thank you, Irene.
Yeah.
She's one of the people
Yeah,
who has come into this fight
Strong.
with her whole heart.
her energy.
And for years now, just like Joe Nissan,
Yeah,
I mean, she's been attracting attention to the problem.
yes.
She's been making trips to Tallahassee. She made a trip to Washington. She's been in the middle of this group of younger folks that are changing this battle.
Yes,
And she has a business that's directly affected by it.
yeah,
You know,
Right.
she's at a resort and,
on the river.
Right.
on the river. Let me make one comment about,
Okay, and then we're gonna take a break.
okay,
One
well,
comment.
go ahead.
Make it first,
No,
and then
no,
we'll go.
you go ahead.
All right,
I'll-
save your
I'll
thought.
say my
All right,
thought,
everybody,
yeah.
save a space for us after the break, and we'll be coming back with the Martin County Difference with Julia Sansevere, your dancing realtor, and my two fine guests, Darrell Brand and Charles Grande, in the studio from the Rivers Coalition. So we'll see you in a minute on the other side. Thanks.
Okay, still on Facebook.
Oh yeah, we're still on
You
Facebook.
do that without power on that. You don't have
No, it's
battery?
powered 100%. So
Yeah,
it's
good
usually,
job.
yeah, it's a new one. It's my new phone. It's, yay, everybody. So we're still
Where are you
here.
going when we come back?
Oh, I just wanted to talk about, the resolution that the Rivers Coalition
With
has
Negron.
and the
Yes.
email blast, the reach out to the politicians.
Now
Okay.
in Neverglades?
Yeah.
Now I never realized, yeah, I printed off some things. This is the other one I wanted to talk about, the defense fund,
Mhm.
how you're separated, you know, if you don't want, but how people can affect change is by donating.
Absolutely.
As well
Yeah,
as
it's, it's, as I mentioned to you, the Defense Fund has a board, and the Rivers Coalition is basically our public face.
Right.
We hold meetings, but the Speakers Bureau and
Public
everything.
face,
Yeah.
private face.
No, that's right, we have public lives and private lives, yes. I like that.
But also the Plan 6, is that still what we're talking about here, Plan 6
Well, what we
flowway?
did, if you look at the Plan 6
Yeah.
in this diagram, you'll see that they look very similar. We made a few tweaks
Yes.
with arrows and so forth, and Charles is an expert on that. But it's all about the flowway.
Okay.
And.
Which is what Plan 6 was.
Yes, yes.
Right, and so Plan 6 was from the 90s, right?
Right.
And so, but it's,
And Plan 6 is named Plan 6 because the Army Corps of Engineers was challenged to put forth all of the possible solutions, and the flowway was the sixth solution. And then they were asked, okay, of all of these proposals, dollar for dollar, what's the one that makes the most sense? How can we get the most solution for the least dollars? And Plan 6 was overwhelmingly the choice,
huh,
which was in effect doing your best to restore the river
Huh.
of Grass.
Yeah.
And the thing that you
Do
have in your
do
hand
you wanna
right
save some of
now.
this when we come back, or is this?
you can repeat it,
Okay, we can
absolutely,
repeat it, okay.
you can repeat it.
I can
The
never
bear's
repeat it.
repeating. 2 minutes or 2 seconds?
minutes.
Oh, 2 minutes, we still have 2 minutes. Okay, so again, on Facebook, thanks for listening. I wanna say a shout out to Irene, and she says that they're killing our economy, health, and way of life. And that, you know, sometimes the blue-green algae, she's saying it's linked to ALS, Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. And she says, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I thank you, Irene, for your comments. And she said that Joe Negron would be a hero if the 60,000 acres is purchased, save our river and wildlife while helping the Everglades, Florida Bay, and protect our drinking water. That's another thing I wanted to talk about. This isn't just about the little birds and the bees. This is us. Water is the most amazing and precious resource we have. You know, the Mad Max movie, the last one that came out, was not about oil. It was about water. That was the top commodity they were fighting for, and that if you have the water, you have the power. So we need to have clean water. Nobody can live without clean water. I mean, that's it. We can live without, we can go for days without food, but we'll shrivel up and die and dehydrate without water. So we really need to keep our water clean. And hey, Laura, my cousin. Hi, in Lynchburg. Hi, Laura. Laura Coleman. And thanks for joining us. We're talking about our rivers here. And, you know, we've had an issue since the 1920s because man thought, hey, we'll lasso the Everglades and we'll you know, lock down a better way to grow crops, and we'll harness nature is what I'm trying to say. And it was a good plan at the time, but it's like medicine. You got to be careful of the side effects, you know, and sometimes the medicine's worse, the cure is worse than the ill, you know, so like you should have left well enough alone, but we didn't know that then, we know it now. So ever since then, though, they've dug these man-made canals, and they continue to do that and to send the water away from where it's needed, which is the Everglades. How many?
1 second.
1 second. Okay, I'll stop talking, and we're going to come back. So we need to fix it, and we have
Now
enough
back
smart
to the
people.
Martin County Difference here on WSTU Digital 1450. Back to your host.
I'm gonna pick up on that thought.
Yeah, hi,
You got
we're
your-
back.
got
Yeah,
your-
we're back.
do your
Thanks
thing.
for joining us, WSTUTV.com and 1450 AM. And I'm Julia Sansevere, your dancing realtor with Coldwell Banker. And you can find me at juliasansevere.com or on Facebook, Julia Sansevere, your Florida waterfront specialist. And that's what we're talking about tonight in the studio with the Rivers Coalition. These fine gentlemen from the Rivers Coalition, Darrell Brand is right here on my right, and Charles Grande on his right. And they're both with the Rivers Coalition, which is a wonderful volunteer organization that has come about over the last 20 years, you know.
The Rivers League, probably. back
It was
in
older
what-
than that,
well,
the 60s, but the Rivers Coalition, as we know it today, formed approximately 20 years ago. And it just goes to show that this is a lifelong problem. We were talking about social media being able to maybe engineer a little bit more thrust and political will behind these folks who, if you would not vote for the people who take dollars from Big Sugar, maybe we could get this problem solved a little sooner. But not to throw any one particular entity under the bus, but we do have an issue with the corporations that make a lot of money in the area, and we just want to work with them, not against them. There's also, from the north, we have farmers that have pesticides coming into the lake, so that's an issue. You know, we have a muddy bottom with toxins in it that are seeping in, and you know, there's all kinds of different things, and there's all kinds of different solutions, but the one main solution we're talking about is buying the land and not blocking the natural flow of the water to go south through into the Everglades, and clean it gently, just as Marjorie Stoneman Douglas talked about in her book, The River of Grass. I encourage you to get it and read it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I just want to back up.
we were talking about the politicians.
Well, yeah, but I just want to talk about
Closer.
our mission, talk about our mission
Yes,
statement.
thank
And
you.
I'm going to read this so I don't forget words.
Okay.
The mission statement of the Rivers Coalition is to fight for a safe, healthy, and ecologically balanced St. Lucie River estuary and Indian River Lagoon, natural resources that are vital to the economy and quality of life of Martin County and the Treasure Coast. So that is the mission statement, and I mentioned that the Rivers Coalition, we hold monthly meetings, and it's interesting you talked about social media.
Mhm.
We followed a river in review at our last meeting, and we used the threads of social media by using Jackie Thurlow-Lipich's blogging, some of the
right.
Facebook posts, and some of social media is instantaneous.
Mhm,
Okay, and part of, we mentioned Senator Negron's plan. The Rivers Coalition in our last declaration, which we submitted to the South Florida Water Management District, is we have a recommendation to support Senator Negron's purchase of the land south. And if you go to our website, you'll see all the list of the politicians.
right.
This
This
is
is
actually the current resolution.
And this is the list of politicians that you can get in touch with to make a statement to them,
Correct.
to do something about this.
In the Rivers Coalition right now is, we have, I think, now it says 86 organizations. We're up to 87 organizations, and we represent probably, through the various memberships, well over 300,000 members.
It's a lot of people who care, let's put it that way.
Absolutely.
And it's about time that we get the people who can make these decisions and get the ball rolling to get that ball rolling. And as Joe Negron said at his press conference, it's like reflective, like in 100 years, what are our future generations gonna say about us back when we had these scientists and we had the solutions? Why didn't we employ them? And can't we do a better job? And thank goodness for the River Kids, who are the next generation. They're gonna be here next week. This is a two-part series with the Rivers Coalition adults tonight and the kids next week. I think we can bring this to a head.
Yeah.
I think we're making
A lot of progress, right?
really great strides now.
Good.
At the top of the show,
Mhm.
you mentioned this being a positive show about people who make a difference in Martin County.
Yes.
And the Martin County difference.
Yeah.
I get to observe objectively because I actually live in St. Lucie. I'm a past St. Lucie County Commissioner.
Oh, okay.
And I've always looked at Martin County and said, boy, you know, they do it right. Martin County is the only county locally that actually taxed itself to help build the C-44 reservoir. The city of Stewart provides their city hall for the Rivers Coalition to have their monthly meetings. The Martin County is just an amazing place, and this really is ground zero for the battle to solve this problem. I think
3 minutes. We're good. We're good.
Yeah,
Keep
I
going.
just wanted to mention too that to recognize the past president, Leon Abood,
Oh, thank
who
you.
is a realtor.
That's right.
And it was
Very good
heavily
one.
involved with the lawsuit.
Yeah. Hi, Leon. I hope you're out there listening.
And he passed the baton to a group of us that are part of the Rivers Coalition Defense Fund and the leadership team. So I just wanted to thank Leon for all the hard work he
Yes.
did over there.
Thanks. Many thanks to Leon.
And I think earlier we had talked about the difference that the young people in social media are making.
Mhm.
I think we also can't overlook the impact that that lawsuit had. It brought a tremendous focus on
Mhm.
the problem.
Mhm.
And it indicated that there were folks here on the Treasure Coast who were willing to go into their pockets and support a legal action to make a difference. And I think the folks that are standing in the way
Mhm.
are now looking at us and saying, what are they gonna do next?
Right.
What are we gonna have to defend next?
Right.
And if anything will bring them to the table to work together with us, that's it.
Well, go ahead.
I just want to point, on our poster, which we
Right.
have a lot of crammed information, one of the center points here is the Economic Council of Martin County has made claims that the local waterways provide, and I'm going to read this again so I get the correct numbers, the local waterways provide $640 million in total economic benefit
Yeah.
and supports approximately 3,750 jobs. And that's just the waterway.
Yeah, absolutely. And then to your point, Charles, and to you, Darrell, our environment is our economy. And that's why I called Jackie Thurlow-Lippisch my E candidate. She was running for commissioner, and she was so smart, and is still so smart. Hi, Jackie, you're still smart. On ecology, economy, the environment, and it all wraps together because we are the sailfish capital of the world. We also have, our waterways are for pleasure, but also for, commercial reasons. And this is all tied together. You can't have one without the other.
Can we bring up tourism?
Yes.
Because
Yes, tourism.
Tourism. Don't forget July 4th, we had green algae coming up on our beaches.
Yeah.
We had every national television network here covering the story for days.
20 seconds.
Okay.
And so
Well,
tourism.
Tune
Lot
in
of
next
dollars.
week. A lot of dollars. We all went out to the beach and spelled by the land, and that's what we want to do. That's the message tonight. And the message will be next week. Come and join us again for the River Kids. I'm Julia Sansevere, your dancing realtor. Thank you, Charles Grande, and thank you, Darrell Brand, for joining us in the studio tonight with Rivers Coalition. and we'll see you next week.
We could do a series.
You are right on the dime.
Thank you. Hey, I'm on the dime. We are going to do a series, and if you'll just turn that down, Frank, we're going to continue to talk. We're going to stay on the air another 3 or 4 minutes till 8 o'clock. We get the full use of the studio. Poor Frank, he can't go home yet. But I wanted to thank, again, Charles and Darrell for coming in tonight. And hey, everybody on Facebook, thank you for joining us. And Jeffrey Shearer is out there, Leon Lee, and Irene says thank you. Again, thank you, Irene, for all you do. And so the economy, the ecology, I encourage you to go to riverscoalition.org, read an incredible amount, and the Plan 6, that what's it called that we didn't even get to?
Well,
This,
restore the river grass flowway.
Restore the river glass
That-
flowway.
And that, we have that ad available on
Right.
the website. But also, please look at the diversity of the members that we have.
Yeah.
We have homeowners associations, business groups,
Realtors?
Realtors,
and
absolutely.
It's, you
People
know,
to contact, Liz Elliott, I
and
know that's her name.
show up at a meeting.
Yeah, come
we
to a
won't-
meeting.
We won't, we're
There's
kind of-
nothing for November or
We're taking
December.
off a couple months
Right.
but if there's an emergency, we will have a
Right,
meeting, but we'll
right.
start up again in January we meet at Stewart City Hall.
And the 501c3 portion of the Rivers Coalition allows you to raise money. It's a nonprofit, and it's the Rivers Coalition Defense Fund. And there's a pledge card right on the website. You just click around and you'll find it. And you can be a platinum member for $10,000 or more, all the way back down to grassroots for $20 to $499, up to $500. So you've got all different levels. And you can do it with a credit card. And I'm sorry to mention this on the radio, but next week I will mention it with the River Kids.
Sure.
But the mission statement is important. The history, this is so amazing, the history. It's well done and well written, and how I got a little bit more knowledge tonight about it from talking to you, but from reading this and knowing Jackie Thurlow-Lippisch and how much she's put into it. I encourage you to go to Jackie's blog. It's just her name, Jackie Thurlow-Lippisch. She put out an article today. She's taking a trip down south to like Okeechobee and the towns, and just showing us through pictures and words how it is down there. And you know, she's one of compromise to continue to work together to make this happen. And you know, not to throw anybody under the bus, but there's a couple of them that could go under there. But we really want to work together, and I think this can be done. I know it can be done.
And it will be done in our lifetime.
There you go. There's positive thinking, and that's the Martin County difference. Is we have people here who care about where we live, and it's not just about tourism or dollars. It's because our quality of life is important to us. A lot of us are in the twilight years, and we don't want to be breathing bad stuff or drinking bad stuff. And this, we were saying in the break, this is our drinking water.
Absolutely.
It's not just, you
Well,
know.
the water that's being discharged east
Right.
and west, we're wasting that water.
True.
Okay.
That's true. There's a
Yeah.
point right there. But to store it, that's another problem of where do you put it? You know, how do
We
you?
really don't need to store it. We need to let it flow south.
Yes.
It's needed in the Everglades.
Right.
It's needed in Florida Bay. It's needed in the Floridan aquifer. So it needs to go where Mother Nature intended it to go.
Absolutely. And if you can get on the website and write your local representative, whoever they may be, federal and state and local, please do that, because, you know, if they don't hear from us, they just think we don't care.
And if you know people that live out in the Glades area, you know, fill
Right.
them in. We really want to try to communicate to them that we're not we do not want to take jobs. We're concerned about their health and
Right.
safety.
Right. And it's
And-
not about Glades lives matter, it's all Florida lives matter. So our wealth, our health, our economy, everything is important, you know. And again, I thank you. This was amazing, a walk down memory lane with these old documents in the briefcase and how long this has been going on.
And this is a clean, this is not one of the,
Original.
not one of
Yeah.
the mildew ones.
Moldy,
That was a-
oldie.
Yeah.
But it's just a wealth of information. This is what I was referring to. Plan 6 is the plan to try to send the water south, and it could stop it. And it's whoever makes these decisions, we just need to make sure they stay on point and they stop the polluted. Oh, and the other thing is that the river's never connected to the lake. The Caloosahatchee on the west And the
And the
St. Lucie River on the east
never
never
were
were connected by nature. Man did that. So this is a man-made problem, and man will fix it with some women.
With some political will. With
Yes.
political will.
Political will, and thank you very much tonight, so much.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Darrell.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Charles.
It's been
And
a
thank you,
pleasure.
everybody out there in Facebook.
This is my first Facebook Live.
All right, how did it go?
I'm surprised the whole hour went by already.
See, I told you. All right, so we'll see you next week with the River Kids, and this will be on YouTube later this week.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody. Bye-bye.